of a 3-part series on collaboration. Draw your big circle or whatever you do. I didn't have one class, I couldn't get to anything, so I drew a circle in the air. Talk about impromptu, right? Work with what you have. So the first one was me, then you, now this one is us. We're talking about teamwork and group dynamics. Okay. Then you're going to start with a quick couple of fun slides and an activity. And this is to get them moving and thinking about teamwork. So you're going to share this first slide. So when we're talking about group dynamics, there's a fun cartoon here. This is the first one. This group work is so time consuming and I do all the work.
That's mom at home.
And then and these, by the way, are in the cabinet, so you could pick this up and take it with you.
Okay. Are there several of those copies to take, or just the one?
There's 4, I think.
4 here. Okay. So we should be able
So,
to share
but not for a whole class necessarily. Here's the thing with the materials. There could easily be 2. And I think we had one situation where there were 3 classes going on at one time. So meaning, if somebody took all of these, then the other person wouldn't have access to them.
Okay, so just take
Or or you could grab a copy and make yourself a bunch of copies if you need more for your class.
But we're just
If that's
showing
the
the
case.
class anyway.
Okay, so and then the second slide,
You guys, because we don't have.
and then you're showing them the second one, where it's this group. Have you ever felt like this? And this guy says he's going to help, but he's not. Disappears at the very beginning and doesn't show up until the very end. Does 99% of the work. Has no idea what's going on the whole time. And so your comment to the class is to think about some group projects you've done at school. Do you recognize any of these players in the slide? Do you recognize it in yourself or in others? This can be a bit of you're not necessarily looking to start a group discussion here, just get them thinking. So you don't have to spend a lot of time on this. Okay, we're gonna have some fun. We'll practice teamwork in 2 different ways and give you some experience of what works, what does not work, and what should work better in group dynamics. So you're gonna break them into groups of 5 or 6. And it's important here that you don't let them choose their groups, because typically they will choose their friend, and what we're looking for is group dynamics that's difficult, not people that they're used to working with. You can do this however you like. Our suggestion, one easy way, is just by counting off 1, 2, 3, and to have 1s over here, 2s over here. So the activity is that they're going to get in their group, and everybody's going to take their shoes off. What if they're not comfortable taking their shoes off? That's part of the group dynamics. Let them figure it out. Don't give them any prompts. The whole thing is for them to figure everything out. So they're going to take their shoes off, and their challenge is to build the tallest tower possible in 3 minutes. Okay. Now you're going to construct this first. She is not here right now. She's in a red shirt. This one is going to be orchestrated by the facilitator. You want to get them to play certain roles and really have fun with it and act it up. There's going to be cards. So you're going to have these cards with you.
This is one set for a classroom.
Right.
And there will be 3 others in case there are 4 classrooms going on at the same time.
Okay, so you'll
Makes
take
sense?
one
So you just
set.
grab one set.
Grab one set.
One set.
And there's 3 in there.
There will
One
be 4.
set will suffice for an entire classroom.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So, you got your group of 5 or 6, all right? You are going to assign roles. And the first one thought that we had was being assigned the boss may be very uncomfortable for some students. And so we thought if you ask who wants to be the boss, that somebody would probably raise their hand, and then that might be more comfortable naturally for that person. So you hand them the boss card. Everybody knows they're the boss.
There's one boss
So
card.
it says, boss, just do it my way, I have all the right ideas, really. Then, the rest of the group, you're gonna hand them their role cards, chameleon, blocker, peacemaker, followers, in private. So the group doesn't know what their role is, okay? Then you wanna give them the instructions. And I find you really need to do this no matter what group you're working with, is give them permission to just really act it up. Maybe kids don't need this as much as adults. I find with adults, I really have to get them to play the role. But they want to play that role. I guess maybe with the kids, this is the important message. They might want to just go crazy. But their job is to stay in that role and play that role and overact it and see what happens in the group, okay? So you set them off and they try to build the tallest tower.
Quick question, after you break up the class, the step is you do want to tell them what they're going to be doing before you give them their cards? Or do you want to give them their roles first and then have them, and then tell
I
them
don't know
what
that
to
that's
do?
super important. The way that we wrote it was, you're gonna get a card, you really wanna exaggerate, play this role,
Okay.
you know, and then give them the cards. But if you did it the other way,
Okay.
I don't know. If you hand them a card, they might get lost in it and not listen to what you're saying.
No, I mean the part about telling them what the activity is.
There is no card where you tell them the activity, you have to describe that. I think the
Yeah.
easiest is,
What's the
once you've
easiest?
got everybody into roles,
Right.
and you have them physically stand together in a role or in a
Yeah.
table somewhere, they have to get into that spot. Then you hand them the cards, and this is a little bit of a logistics, because you're
Yeah,
going
that's what I'm
around to
asking,
5 or
because I
6 different
Yes.
groups.
Groups, yeah.
Once everybody has a card,
Yeah,
here's the team activity.
right.
You have 3 minutes to take your shoes off and build the tallest tower.
Yeah.
Boom. How about
I would
that?
switch 3 and 2, the order.
Maybe.
I will make that note for next time, but I don't think we can do it in process with the lesson right now.
Look, I just did it with 2 circles and an arrow. Done.
You're gonna switch it on your thing, I
Yeah.
see. Sorry.
Let everyone
Sorry,
figure
Jenny.
it out
We spent a
what
lot of
works
hours
best.
on the document, you freaked me out when you told me you want me to change it.
No,
It's already
you don't have to change it. Next year.
Or for this group,
But for this group,
Now everybody's coming together.
suggest that you switch
Okay.
the order of 2 and 3.
But again, one of the important parts is that besides the boss, you want them to have the experience of experiencing the roles of the other players without knowing exactly what their role is. Okay,
Can I just add one small thing?
Yes.
There are 2 followers cards in here, just in case you have extra kids. So I would count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and if you have extra kids, you add them as a 6th,
yeah.
as a follower
An extra
to the other
follower.
groups. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And I probably
And
should
then there's
clarify
extra
all your
towers.
cards.
I would suggest let them have fun with it because that's part of the group dynamics, right? What ideas can they generate? Maybe they decide to build it against a wall. Maybe they have it on a table. Maybe they have it on the floor. Maybe they use another resource that's in the room. They may ask you this, and I would just suggest it's your group, decide
Can we say as
how
long
you're
as
gonna
it's
do
safe?
it. Yeah.
As long as it's safe.
Okay, so then when they're done and you've measured it for fun and you've got all the heights, you're going to debrief them.
So, one thing, I would just measure what you eyeball as the tallest height, because it could take so much time to measure every tower. Do you see what I'm saying? If you can eyeball which is the tallest one, then measure
Oh, the
it.
number
And
of
put that up.
You can do that.
That's good enough.
I just think time-wise, it would save
True.
some time.
You're putting shoes, right? Just count the number of shoes that are there in a tower.
They might be standing straight up, they might be sideways.
Yeah, but still, let's say they're.
Oh.
But the direction's tallest tower.
Here's
Tallest
another
tower.
idea, you know what I use to measure everything whenever I'm out shopping, is my hands. My hand
Oh,
is
yes.
7 inches long, or I could just be one hand. One,
We will
2,
have
it's 3
measuring
hands.
tapes.
We do have measuring
We do
tapes,
have-
or you can use a measuring tape, so it just depends on time.
Yeah.
Okay, then you're gonna debrief them, and you're gonna show on the PowerPoint, you can put this up so they can all see what each other's roles were. And you can debrief them with questions like, how did you like your role? Could you guess who everyone was. Did you get a role that felt natural to you? How was it working with others in these roles? So this is time for a little discussion. Then there is a video, and I know, have you guys had a chance to look at it? Has anybody had a chance to look at the video? No. Yeah?
My
We could
suggestion is
show
we
it,
don't
but
see
let's,
it now.
let's not.
Look at it
It's a
home.
fun
It's
video.
cute.
But do go take a look at it. It's just a group that's really, sort of like they just did, really acting out in a fun way, group dynamics on solving a problem. So a little transition here, talking to them about how working as a team can be a huge part of life. It's something that you'll encounter every day at school, with sports, with friends, in a future job. Even your family is a type of team. And today we're mostly going to talk about teamwork at school, but it can be applied to any circumstances when you've got any group of people working towards a common goal.
And real quick, that's a great place for a personal story, if you have one.
Yeah.
Insert that.
And then a general discussion about what are the advantages of working in a group, what are the disadvantages, and do you think conflict and disagreement is natural?
And are you kind of expecting that whole segment to take about, what, 5 minutes of discussion or so? Maybe 7.
We've got 15 minutes for the whole thing.
Oh yeah,
So the activity is probably going to be like, say, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, this whole section is maybe like 5 minutes. Oh, sorry, minus the video, but
oh right.
here's another thing, which it sounds like you guys have really been doing, which is we are trying to put things on paper to help you with the discussion. So we err on putting too much there. So you might not necessarily have time for everything. So it's your discretion when you're with the students and how the flow of it is going, how long you take on it.
So with the idea though, you want to save room for every segment.
Yeah, we want to get to it, but let's say one class may have a great discussion going on advantages. One class may have a comment on advantages and everybody's silent and there's nothing else coming. Move along.
Move on.
Yeah.
My
Okay,
most
group
helpful
dynamics discussion. So here, there's a couple things going on here. We are taking a look at how people participate in groups. We're also tying back to empathy from lesson 2. Okay? The bulk of this lesson is not the logistics of a team, like to work as a successful group in Google, and there's 6 of you. One of you has to be the leader, and one of you has to be the note taker. We're not talking about roles so much. We're talking about relationships and how that affects how a team works. So there are 3 slides for this, and it's just the questions. On your notes, you have all the sort of prompts and discussion. So they look like this. So the first one is about not speaking up. I'm thinking about why would someone not speak up in a group? What can you do if someone doesn't speak up? What if you are the one who doesn't speak up? And then there's some comments and prompts in here, and there's also a reference to the ABC books that are related to this topic that they might remember if they had that in elementary school.
Did Netta have a few more books? Or was that the only one?
She's got a ton of books, and there's one on every single question. See the third
Oh,
bullet?
there's one on every output.
Yeah. There's one on every question there, and then they're all in the back. More details are in the appendix on the books. Okay, the next one is about not participating. So the first one was, saying something, for being quiet. This is the actions now. Why would someone not do their part? What can you do to encourage others to do their part?